power over you. So, what he's saying here is if you internalize your desires, let's say instead of craving alcohol or drugs or whatever it is, you start desiring to be a good person. You start desiring to live justly. You start desiring to do the right thing. Then you can have these things every single day. That doesn't mean you can't go out and have a good time, but moderation is in order here. Not going over the edge. Stoicism doesn't say you have to live in a cave all by yourself. You live in the world and you interact with the world and you can have a good time, but you want to keep yourself under control. Now, Seneca has a few other things I want to point out. He says that the man who measures the souls of all men by his own is shaking his fist in his face. So he's saying that, in essence, if you try to use your own internal systems to measure everyone else, you're going to be mad all the time because you will have faults and you will think those faults are virtues a lot of the time, and then you'll judge others based on that fact. And he says that a lot of times people think that some things cannot be done just because they can't do them. But remember, some people are more advanced than you when it comes to virtue. Some people, not as much. And he says, well, remember this, that to some people, going to work is a terrible pain. Well, for a lot of us. But for the slothful, studies are a torture. So for some people, just putting the effort to learn something just seems like such a pain when you can just watch TV all day and not think about things. You know, if you're willing to think deeply about things, that means you're a little more diligent than some. And I like that he says these actions, well, first of all, he says, don't forget, for some people, to abstain from wine or to get up at the break of day, like we heard from Marcus, are terrible, difficult things to do. So whether it be addiction or just laziness, or lacking temperance, sometimes we fail to control ourselves. And he says it's not because these things are really that hard, it's that we're soft and flabby. And then he says, so because we have errors in judgment concerning great matters, we often misjudge things. Just like when we look at a board that's underwater, it might look bent. Look at your drinking straw when you're drinking, I don't know if you use a straw, but let's say you're drinking a glass of water with a straw in it. It looks bent or broken. He says we have our own perception that we can misjudge things with because we are not perfect beings. This is another good reason why we aim for these almost impossible to meet standards of virtue, because we will fall short of it because we're human, but we'll get as good as we can be if we have standards that are slightly beyond our reach. It's really powerful when he says, it matters not only what you see, but with what eyes you see it. So are you seeing it through the light of virtue, temperance, wisdom, etc., or are you seeing it through the eyes of, oh man, I'm going to have a good time with this, or boy, that person's a jerk. Yeah, well, they may be, but you can be a jerk too, so think about that and weigh it accordingly. So we can compare that to the reading about red wine. I still like red wine, but maybe we should control our desires. Epictetus talks about, in other readings, about controlling our desires and our aversions. Those are the things we control. Control what you want, what you crave. Control what you fear and what you are averse to. These are the things we have true power over, and the things that make us good people if we can get at the helm of this ship. And so don't let the wind just blow you in any direction. The whole idea of a philosophy like Stoicism is to put you in command of the ship. You are charting your life's course. You need to have some idea where you're going. And that way, if the wind of some offer comes up, hey, big party, or hey, do you want to try this drug, or whatever it is, you know where you're headed, and you know whether or not that wind will push you in the right direction or push you off course. So practicing temperance and practicing the other virtues of Stoicism, like courage and justice and wisdom, will give you the knowledge you need to navigate towards the harbor that you're headed to. You don't want to get blown out to sea and lost. So here is your challenge, your temperance challenge. Try not to check social media so much next week. Try not to care if anyone likes your post. If you feel your phone buzz in your pocket, tell yourself it's not that important. It's not as important as what's happening in front of me right now. And engage with the world in a mindful fashion, one that exercises a bit of self-control. And I will see you next week. Carpe diem.